Hello, ghouls and goblins. Nick here. Hope everyone's doing well today. I am back with another Bone Chiller book review. We're on to book number 2, Little Pet Shop of Horrors. The second book in the series by Betsy Haynes. Interesting cover here. We have this girl who I presume to be the main character in this book. She's growing a tail, has dog paws here, and of course is in shock at her transformation. I do quite like these children here that have turned into pets, and this one's expression is very interesting to me. This girl, she's just. I'm actually not sure who the cover artist this is. I couldn't find any of those details. I didn't look super hard enough, though, to be fair, so it might be out there. But I do love the border page, the green and the pink, which is very fitting with the pink specifically because the stuff that turns the kids into pets in this book, it's like a pink liquid that the villain makes them drink or whatever. But yeah, just a very nice. I don't show the back of the books enough, but I do love that pink and green combo. Very appealing to the eye. For the cover itself, it's okay. I mean, I think right away it gives you an idea of what the horror will be like, what the story will entail with children turning into pets. So, no ambiguity there, which I don't mind. I guess that can be kind of a freaky concept, being turned into someone's pet dog and having to live your life that way and eat dog food and so yeah, I guess that can be kind of frightening. But going into the book part of it, I feel like it's kind of a weaker book, and I think in many regards it doesn't. I get that the idea is sort of them turning into pets, but I guess I would have liked to have seen maybe more characters turn into pets. I will say I do like the friend character. Her name is Suki in the book. Much better. The main character, I should also say, her name is Cassie. And she has a friend named Suki that does gymnastics. She seems like a much better friend to her than the than the girl in the last book or the first book. Those friends did not seem very good. They're more obnoxious, but we don't really see a lot of Suki in the book, just more so the beginning. Cassie, there is this boy who's kind of a bully, very obnoxious. His name is David Fuentes, and he plays a more important role in the story, which we'll get into. But so essentially, going into the villainous character, his name is Mr. Willard. And the book, how he's described, he's a bigger fella. He waddles. He also has these really creepy, watery eyes, and he doesn't really have lips. So he appears in this pet shop that just seems to pop out of nowhere. But the pet shop is, it looks really old. It's made of brick. It looks really old. It has vines on it, but according to Cassie and Suki in the beginning of the book, it just pops out of nowhere. Another aspect that I like about the pet shop too, in terms of the creep factor, is it doesn't have any windows, which is very unusual. In the front of the store, we have, the cages, and there seems to just be a couple of dogs in there, and like a cat or so, which is very strange considering it's just full of cages, and there's just a couple animals here. And then what is very chilling, which I liked, on the bulletin board, it says, we do custom pets. We can get you any kind of pet you want. So essentially, what they do is they go in and they fill out a form of what kind of pet they would like with whatever characteristics. And, Mr. Willard says, oh, okay, I think we can go ahead and get that. It might take a couple of days, but we can definitely get you a pet. And you can kind of see where this is going in the story. But they fill out these forms, and then the next day, the family comes in, and there's the pet that they describe. And so essentially what Mr. Willard's doing is, and we don't really know what he is, like if he's a supernatural entity, and I'll get more into that in a minute, but essentially he gives them this, the kids specifically, this purple liquid, which we don't really know a lot about it either, like this kind of liquid, why it, disorients children and then makes them become, one of these customized pets. There's not really a lot of info there about that, which I think is a little disappointing. And then I think another disappointing aspects in regard to Mr. Willard, particularly him and the father of David, Fuentes, they are very mean to Cassie, particularly when she becomes a dog. So she, of course, becomes a dog and gets trapped by Mr. Willard. They're just, and they're gonna beat her and stuff, and it's just very uncomfortable. I get that Betsy Haynes was, trying to bring home the, scare in terms of like how awful it was for Cassie to become a dog and how scary it was, but it just kind of falls flat for me. I mean, there definitely are situations in the book where it's a bit scary for Cassie, particularly when she becomes David's pet. So the bully in the beginning of the story, he gets a tarantula from the shop. And, we don't know who became that tarantula. But essentially he throws it at her and messes with her using kind of like a spider arachnophobia type scare. And in the book, he sits on the tarantula accidentally, and he wants a new pet. Annoyingly, he's like, I want a new pet, So they come to the pet store just when Cassie's there, kind of snooping around because she, hears this really, bad cat whining and something about the the dogs that we encounter in the shop while she's still human. Particularly the one named Cuda, which is short for Barracuda, this big Rottweiler. It's like he's pleading with her about something, pleading her to help him, which is very interesting. But yeah, essentially she becomes like a golden retriever, and which is what David wants. And I guess the good middle part of the story is her being David's pet and just seeing how awful his parents are, particularly his father, who likes to hunt, and he's trying to get her to eat birds or to bring birds to them when they go hunt and all this stuff, and relies heavily on that particular part in Cassidy's perspective as a dog. And going into another disappointing part in the book, particularly with the dog, or Cuda, I'm sorry, she tries to communicate with him. They meet up a couple times when they're both dogs, but we don't know who Cuda is. It doesn't explain who he is, and I feel like maybe that would have been more fleshed out, but, maybe, she was trying to get this book done and trying to get it to meet a certain requirement, because it meets the standard 125 130 page book. So I don't really know, but anyway, regardless, we just have these characters with just stories that go unanswered, and she never actually gets to talk to him. Even at the end, when she's able to become human again after being returned to the shop because you know sh- that she just wouldn't listen, to David or his parents because, of course, she's a girl, doesn't want to be a dog. Um, just being disobedient. Yeah, I thought that was very disappointing. And also, when she's sort of having this situation where she's returned to the shop and Mr. Willard is, trying to put her to sleep with a, syringe. And it's like a struggle between them. And I guess because he's so big, he gets out of breath, he falls down, and he says that he'll be back with help to put her down. But luckily, she finds and it's the same pink liquid, but the same pink liquid disorients her again, but turns her back into a human. And after that, she's able to like push this dog food up against the corner, and then go out and escape from the window. She meets the cat she heard earlier in the book that has that was crying in the back, and like, oh, what did he do to you? And but again, that doesn't really go anywhere because the book pretty much ends in the next couple pages where she gets back home, because from where she's been a dog for a little while, she's been reported as missing. And she tells her parents everything, but they chalk it up to like her having amnesia, not remembering anything, which is pretty typical in these books for the parents not believing her. And then at the end, because originally too, Cassie wants a pet, but her parents won't let her because she's allergic. But there are certain breeds of dogs that are more, allergy friendly, hypoallergenic as they call them. I don't know how legit that is. So they end up getting her a dog at the end because they're just so happy for her to be back. And then we realize, which is the twist at the end, that the little dog is Suki. And doing flips like Suki did because she's, gymnast. And the book just kind of ends there, which I think is fine for a twist, but it's very disappointing also because I feel like we didn't get like a good finality with Mr. Willard. He's just pretty much gone on because they just got the dog even after all this mess just more recently from the same pet shop. So I guess he was never brought to justice, or there's not really a good conclusion with his character arc either. And I don't know if that was because they wanted, I guess in a way, for the twist to work, he would have had to have still, kept running the shop. But another aspect about his character that I didn't like was, he would charge people, for their custom pets. And him, kind of appearing, because initially it seems like from where the pet shop just appears out of nowhere, it gives the impression he's more of a supernatural being. There's another book in the Dead Time Stories called Little Magic Shop of Horror, and it's pretty much the same deal where this magic shop appears just randomly one day, and then there's this creepy store owner, magician guy that sells these kids this magic kit that, of course, causes, all these different shenanigans and, in that book. And it doesn't seem like his priority is, price. And we kind of, get an idea of his supernatural abilities, and we kind of get a little backstory how he tricked another character that's in the book at some point into buying the magic trick. But with Mr. Willard, we don't really get any of that. We don't really get like an ending with him, and yeah, it was just very unsatisfying. And I didn't like that because it seemed like he was, because we don't know what he is. It seemed like he was chalked up to be this supernatural being, but wants money, which doesn't really make sense. Because if you have the powers to do this, you don't really need it. Anyway, the book for me was, I give it 4.5 or a 5. Um, but yeah, it was just disappointing in many regards. The idea of children becoming dogs, I think, or dogs and cats or pets is interesting. I felt like there could have been some more interesting aspects to explore there, like multiple children in the town becoming pets, or you know. But anyway, that's just how I felt about the book. Um, and I think that's all I have to say about it. Because I've kind of been droning on. I don't usually do this, but I did pick up a lot of, um, you know, issues in it. And I wanted to be honest about that, of course, because it is a review. So, anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you in the next review. Thank you. Bye bye.